He will ask you how you spent your knowledge. What did you utilize your knowledge with? Did you act upon your knowledge? Did you act upon the verses that you heard? Did you act upon what my Prophet ﷺ told you? So it's not something that can be joked about. It's not something that is simple or sahl. Yani many people, they think that the time that's in their hands is actually theirs. Yani it's not all the wealth that they have in their pocket, it's theirs. Everything has a haqq. Even your body has a haqq, has a right that you have to give. Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala mentions 3 things that most people waste their time in if they exceed the limits and the boundaries set by Islam. These 3 things are al-aklu, al-ta'am wal-aklu, wal-nawmu wal-kalam. Al-aklu yani eating. If eating exceeds some people, he mentions some people, yani when food is laid down on the table, yani it may take them half an hour or 45 minutes or even an hour just to finish the food or just to eat it, when in reality it should take no more than 10 or 15 minutes. These extra daqaiq, these extra minutes are things that you could do, are things that you could benefit from. You could recite the Quran, you could recite a juz or a whole chapter from the Quran. You could seek knowledge by reading a beneficial book. You could revise for your studies in university or in college. Yani, he mentions also al-nawm or sleeping. In the West now we hear that some doctors, they say that people, every person needs 8 hours to sleep in. This, or 6 hours or 7 hours. This has absolutely no basis. The scholars, rahimahumullah ta'ala, and al-Imam al-Nawawi, كان ينام نوم العصفور سنتين ونصف. Al-Imam Nawawi, rahimahullah ta'ala, used to sleep the sleep of birds. How birds sleep for 2.5 years. Yani he did not lay down on his side for 2.5 years seeking knowledge. Yani he was so engrossed in ilm, and he was so engrossed in reciting or reading books and memorizing and going to halaqat that he did not have time to even sleep. Yani these are the scholars. So yani it depends on the person. Some people can get away with sleeping 4 hours and feel active and feel that has rested them. Some people 6, some people 8. And he mentions that as long as the sleep does not contradict your compulsory things or your wajibat, the things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made compulsory upon you, then it becomes mubah. Al-Mu'adh ibn Jabal says, إِنِّي لَأَحْتَسِبُ نَوْمَتِي كَمَا أَحْتَسِبُ قَوْمَتِي. He said, I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reward me in my sleep, like the way I ask Him to reward me in my standing in prayer. How? When the person, when he sleeps and he has an intention, his intention is to benefit from this sleep so that he is strong for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so that he becomes strengthened for the Fajr prayer or for Qiyamul Layl, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward him in his sleep because his intention is pure. But if your intention is something that is mubah, something that is halal, so that you can rest for anything, for football or for anything, then you will not, neither will you have ajr, nor will you have sins. Ibn al-Jawzi rahimahullah ta'ala says, لقد رأيت خلقا كثيرا يترددون معي فيما اعتاده الناس من كثرة الزيارة. Ibn al-Jawzi, who wrote more than 400 books, authored more than 400 books, each one يعني volumes. The scholars say if his books were divided, he died at an early age. If his books were divided amongst the years that he lived, then some of them say that he would have written, that means he would have written maybe 100 pages a day, or more, or just less. So Ibn Jawzi says that many people كانوا يترددون إلي. Many people used to visit me, he says. من كثرة زيارة ويسمون ذلك التردد خدمة ويطلبون ويطيلون الجلوس. And they used to sit with me for a long time. I mean, they used to come to my house and sit with me for a very long time. Then he says, ويدلون فيه أحاديث الناس وما لا يعنيه ويتخلله غيبا. They used to talk about people and they used to sometimes backbite. Then he says, فلما رأيت أن الزمان أشرف شيء كرهت ذلك. So when I saw that my time is more precious than this, I hated what they were doing. I hated the fact that they were coming to visit me. Then he says, وبقيت معهم بين أمرين. And he says, I was in two predicaments or two situations. إن أنكرت عليهم وقلت لا أذهب معكم. If I was to refrain from sitting with them and I was to say I will not go with you, يعني وقعت وحشة, they would become angry with me and it could lead to a fitna. Then he says, وإن تقبلته منهم ضاع الزمان. And if I was to accept their sitting and if I was to accept what they were upon, then my whole zaman, my time would be useless or my time would be wasted. فيقول, then he says رحمه الله تعالى, فصرت أدافع اللقاء جهدي كلما أتى واحد من هؤلاء البطالين. He says every time that one of these losers came to me, then I would try to make excuses so that they would not sit with me. Then he says, فإذا غلبت صار لا بد أن يدخل عندي. But if they overpowered me and I had no excuses and they sat with me, قصرت في الكلام لأتعجل الفراق. I would try and speak as little as possible and I would leave as quickly as possible. وبعضهم قد يلجأ إلى أساليب جيدة فإذا أتاه شخص وهو مشغول فإنه يقف فيشعر الآخر بأنه لا يريد أن يقعد. And sometimes what some people would do and what I would do is that if one of them was to come to me, then I would remain standing so that he would know and that he would know that I do not want him to sit, and then he would leave. Then he says, ويقول ابن الجوزي, he continues and says, ثم أعددت أعمالا لا تمنع من المحادثة ولكن لا بد منها لأوقات لقائهم لئلا يمضي الزمان فارغا فجعلت من الاستعداد للقائهم قطع الكاغد والكتابات والتصنيفات. He would say that what I would do is that when one of them, when they visited me, what I would do is I would sharpen my pencils and do things, a'mal or actions that did not contradict talking. So I would do these things so that I would not waste my time. Pens they used to sharpen their pens back in the time of Ibn al-Jawzi. So I would sharpen my pens and I would organize my papers, and this would take up time. So I would do this while they were talking so that I would not waste my time. Look at the hal of the Aimma. Ibn al-Mubarak rahimahullah ta'ala says, one day Ibn al-Mubarak, one of his companions did not see him or could not find him. Then he says, مَا لَكَ لَا تُجَالِسُنَا. Why do you not sit with us? Then he says, his friend said to him, why do you not sit with us? Why are you all lonely and sitting by yourself? Ibn al-Mubarak answered and he says, إِنِّي لَأُجَالِسُ الصَّحَابَةَ وَالتَّابِعِينَ. He says, I am sitting with the companions and the tabi'in. Meaning, I am reading about the companions and the tabi'in, and I am sitting with them, so I do not need to sit with you. This is what he means. I do not need to waste I do not need to waste my time with you. Sufyan al-Thawri rahimahullah ta'ala was once walking to the masjid, and he walked by a group of people that he knew. So they said to him, اجلس معنا, or تعال واجلس معنا, come and sit with us, O Sufyan al-Thawri. He looked at the sun and he pointed at the sun and he said, أوقف هذا. He said, stop that sun and I will sit with you. Stop the time and I will sit with you. They had no answer for him. This does not mean that the person is rude to his friends or rude to his to people and he answers them in harshful ways. It means that you should be you should have manners with the people, but you should not be too open with the people so that every daqiq or every second of your time is wasted in qila wa qal. He says and I say. أسأل الله تعالى رب العرش العظيم أن ينفعنا بما سمعنا. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He benefits us from what we've heard And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He makes us of those who benefit from their time, who benefits from their time by reading the Quran, by memorizing the Quran, by reading beneficial books, by sitting in circles of knowledge. إنه ولي ذلك والقادر عليه والحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا وسيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.